Hi everyone, welcome to Child Safety 101, a guide to keeping children safe in an African home. I'm excited to be here with you, and today we're going to run through very little things around the home which could impede the safety of our children and which we sometimes take for granted. By the end of this video, you'll be able to identify safety hazards within your home. You would have simple strategies to begin to put things in place to ensure that it doesn't cause harm to your kids, and you will know how to execute. You might be wondering, why am I doing this? Well, the thing is, the home is actually supposed to be a safe place for our children, but unfortunately a lot of avoidable accidents happen, and that's one of the things that gets to me. When things that are avoidable happen, I feel like if there are ways to prevent it, why not? So avoidable things happen, and then we do not have enough information that suits the African context. So I love to equip people so that they know what to do, and such that even in their absence, things work properly without accidents happening in their homes. So the very first hazard we're going to be talking about right now is stuffed animals. You can see the picture on your screen right now. Stuffed animals. Now this is a challenge because most times we want to have these things in the home for our babies because they're beautiful. We just want our children to cuddle with something, but the truth is sometimes even the things that look so good, if they're not handled properly, it could actually cause harm. There are also a lot of times that for some reason or the other you step away from your child, and if this stuffed animal falls on them and maybe they are too small to move, it could lead to suffocation. Stuffed animals are a suffocation hazard. Here are some key considerations to bear in mind when you want to put stuffed animals in your baby's cot or on your baby's bed. The first is the baby's age. You need to be mindful of how old your baby is. If your baby is too small, if the stuffed animal encroaches into his or her space, the baby might not be able to move away. The next thing is going to be the size of the stuffed animal. Now, if the size of the stuffed animal is really big and then it falls on a smaller baby, that baby might not be able to push it away as opposed to an older baby. Do you see? So the age of the baby is very important. The size of the stuffed animal is also very important. Also, the third one is the location of that stuffed animal. So most times people put the stuffed animals by the side of the baby, right? Now, if the baby turns in a certain way and you are not there, it could actually block the baby's source of breathing. It could make the child uncomfortable. Also, if you are the one who puts the stuffed animal at one end of the cot, that's fine if it's a baby that doesn't move around, but imagine that it's a baby that actually moves a lot. You see that could actually still become a problem. So it's usually advised that the best place to put a stuffed animal in a baby's cot is to use to make it dangle over the baby's bed, right? Now, you must bear in mind that whatever dangling apparatus you are using must be functioning. It mustn't have one fault or the other, because if it malfunctions, that's also a disaster waiting to happen. So you need to be sure that it's dangling so that it's out of the baby's reach, and then there is no issue of the baby not being able to breathe, right? But then you need to ensure that the dangling apparatus is not faulty so that it doesn't malfunction and then the thing falls on the child. The second hazard present in our homes is hot fluids. Whether it's hot water, hot oil, hot soup, this is actually the major cause of burns in the home. So you need to be asking yourself, in what sort of receptacle, in what sort of container are these hot fluids kept? What position is it kept? Because children are at this stage where they're very curious, they're moving around the house and all that. If you put hot water within their reach, they are going to get it. Now, if the hot water is also in a container that is not that does not shield them, from the temperature of its content, that's also a problem. Again, if the container is something that does not have a cover, it means that the child can pull at it, and when the child pulls at it, it's going to fall. And once the child realizes it's hot, the child leaves it and then it spills on the child's body. This is actually a case that keeps happening over and over again. I keep hearing countless stories on how hot tea, hot water, or hot oil has poured on children. So it's important that when we are putting hot fluids in the home, we must keep them out of reach of children, right? Then it's also important that we put them in spill-proof containers. We must also ensure that When we are taking hot drinks, we are not carrying babies, because you can't carry the two of them. A mistake is bound to happen, and then there will be a spill. And most times, these things are unintentional. But what happens? An accident eventually happens, So we've got to really be careful about it. The next point is sharp utensils. Where are they kept in your home? Are they kept in a drawer? Are they hanging on the wall? Where is the location? We must bear in mind that children always observe what we are doing. And so, when we are not present, they try to mirror our actions. So, where do you keep them? And if you have the utensils that have all these colorful handles and look attractive and beautiful, when children get bored, they begin to look around the house for things to play with. And if the drawer or the cabinet where these things are kept is open, what this means is that they'll be able to open it and have a field day basically there. And we do not want that to happen. So it's important that you keep your utensils, sharp ones, out of reach. And it's also important that as much as possible, if the drawer or cabinet where it's kept is at a low level, you must make sure that it is one that can be locked. Because if it is locked with a key, no matter how the child pulls, the child will not be able to pull it out. But as much as possible, try to keep them at a height where the children cannot reach. The next one is plastic bags. This one always makes me smile because it's there's a way it works in Nigerian homes and in African homes where other plastic bags are kept inside one major plastic bag. So it's like Nigerians will say nylon. It's a nylon of nylons. Or in some other homes, they are kept in drawers. Now, plastic bags are a suffocation hazard. Children sometimes want to play with them because they come in all sorts of colors and they look beautiful, right? But we have a role to play to ensure that they do not have access to them. So again, keep out of their reach. So I'm sure you'll be wondering, why do we have to keep everything out of their reach? The truth is, children are at that stage where they want to explore the environment. They're curious, they're trying things out, and we have to play our own part to help them. And that's why we need to childproof our homes. Floor type. Floor type is another hazard that doesn't look like a hazard, but is a hazard, because you see, sometimes we are choosing floor types for our homes and rooms because they're beautiful, not necessarily because they're functional. What this means is there have been lots of accidents that have been attributed to falls in the home, most especially in our bathrooms. So you need to begin to think, the type of floor I have in my sitting room, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, is it ideal? Is it safe? If somebody were to slip or somebody were to be putting on the wrong shoes, what could go wrong? So, as much as possible, when we are choosing to buy a house or rent a home, these are part of the things you need to consider. But if you look around your house right now and you see that you can't really change things because it is not your home, or you do not have enough finances to make that change, you could improvise. You could improvise by using floor coverings, rugs, some carpets. They are a good way to maintain a floor that is not too smooth, and which does not cause falls, because traction is actually very important when choosing floors. The next one is, what is the location of your cooking gas cylinder? I'm sure a lot of us are somehow guilty of this, and it may not be totally your fault, because again, maybe the house that you're currently living in, which was not built by you, or maybe it was built by you, but you didn't really know that that was actually an issue. It probably doesn't have an opportunity or an option for your cylinder to be kept outside the kitchen. Ideal situation, your gas cylinder is supposed to be kept out of your kitchen, because gas cylinders are supposed to be kept in an area that is properly ventilated. The reason this is important is because if, for example, we have gas emissions, for some reason maybe the gas cylinder is faulty and all that, if the gas cylinder is in a well ventilated area, there will be diffusion, so the gas moves from higher concentration to the areas of lower concentration, you see. So it's not going to be concentrated in a particular environment, because what actually would cause an incident from a gas cylinder will be concentration of so much gas within a space that is not properly ventilated. So you need to begin to look around your house. What can you do alternatively about your gas cylinder? If you can, you should put it outside your kitchen. But if, for instance, you are on the second floor and the whoever built the house did not make provision for the gas cylinder to be kept on a balcony, there's no balcony on the kitchen area, you need to think, what are the other things I can begin to do to improvise? Pending when you can move to another apartment that has made provision for things like that. Our next point is placement of pots on burners. Now, this might have some similarity with hot fluids, but it's slightly different because most times we get so comfortable cooking with the burners, the outer burners, right? And again, because children are exploratory, they want to move all around the place and all that. It's important that as a rule, you must mark out a 3-foot radius from heat sources. And so this means that there should be like a standing rule in your home where children must not go within 3 foot of any heat source. So whether it's a gas cooker or an electricity port, you have to enforce that rule in your home. When you do that, the next thing is you need to ensure that your pots, when you are done using them, you move them to the inner burners, and as much as possible always turn the handles inward. Because yes, it's true that you might have a 3-foot radius around your cooker, right? But what if in your absence your toddler goes there? If you have put that hot pot in the inner burner, if you have turned the handle inward, they won't be able to reach and pull at it. So do you see, in as much as you put a certain control measure in place, you must make sure that if there are other things you can do, you do them, so that if one fails, the other one would work. So do you see why this is really important in our homes? Because we all cook, right? And I know because even sometimes I do it, I want to cook at the outer burner, but I have to keep reminding myself that whenever I'm cooking, I move it inwards as much as possible. Our next point is open cabinets. So some time ago, I shared a video on Instagram where a dummy was shown attempting to climb an open cabinet. Now, this cabinet had a TV on it, and then the cabinet fell. It looked so real that when I shared that video, lots of parents reached out to me explaining that their kids had encountered something like that, and it was such a fearful thing to them. Now, the truth is, again, children are active, they want to move around the house. So the onus is on us to put things in place to ensure that they do not harm themselves. As much as possible, try to ensure that your cabinets are fastened to the wall. As an added precaution, when you are done using a cabinet, it is important that you close it. We need to have a culture of when we open cabinets, we close it. We don't leave them open. Because when a child sees an open cabinet, what the child sees is stairs. And so they want to climb to reach to the top. And so it's important that we do not be the one leaving clues for them to begin to think of actions to take, as it were. Now, this particular point is very important. Lotions, medicine, and cosmetics. These things, even cleaning fluids, these things come in very colorful containers. They have beautiful shapes. They look so attractive. And so children see them and the first thing is, oh, I want to touch that. Oh, it smells fruity. Oh, it looks so colorful. So it's calling their attention. And this is why we've had cases of children overdosing on medication of their parents. We've had cases of children eating lipstick. We've had cases of children trying to sip cleaning fluid. Why? Because it looks attractive. So as parents, as caregivers, we need to ensure that we keep these things out of reach. As a matter of fact, when you have children in the home and suddenly everywhere is quiet, you're not hearing any sound, you need to get up and look for them, because most likely something is going on. I saw a picture recently of a child with flour all over. That child had been so busy in the cabinet in the mom's kitchen, you see. So it's really important that we keep these things out of reach. And when children are around us and suddenly we're not hearing their voices, we need to check because they're doing something. So medicine, lotions, cleaning fluids, we must keep them out of reach. So moving on to the next point. where is the location of your generator and petrol? Now, this is a common scenario with African homes because due to erratic power supply, everybody has now sort of become self-governing. You know, everybody has a generator to ensure that they have electricity. While that is not a bad thing, where is it located? Are you aware that fumes from a generator could potentially wipe out families? That has actually been in the news in Nigeria for a period. You know, you just hear cases of families not waking up the next day, and by the time the investigation is done, you'd hear stories like the generator was kept really close to the window of their bedrooms, and because the place was not properly ventilated, they inhaled lots of poisonous and toxic fumes, and they all died. So it's really important that you must keep your generator in a place that is well ventilated. Also, if you have to buy petrol and stock them in jerry cans, you must always keep some space in the container. You do not necessarily have to fill it up to the brim because it expands, and you don't want a situation where it is so full that it expands and then it explodes, you know. So you need to always keep some space in the jerry cans when you have to purchase petrol in those containers. Moving on to the next point, which is electrical outlets. So we all have electrical outlets in our homes, right? But I would like to focus on what do you use when you're trying to plug things, when you're trying to depress. What do you do? Because again, children model what they see us do. So you, for example, you probably understand all the things about conducting electricity and all that, but the child does not know. The child just sees you take an action and they would also go and take it. So what you can do is you need to child-proof your socket. There are certain devices that you can use to put on your sockets, and children will not be able to tamper with that electrical outlet. So that reduces the risk of electrocution and ensures that your child is safe in the home. Our next point is trailing cables. Now, when I say trailing cables, you might be thinking, oh, you know, you're not connecting things all around the house. Laptop cords are also trailing cables. Extension cords are also trailing cables. Now, you must ensure that these cables are not on walkways. And a walkway may not necessarily be a defined walkway. It could just be any part where somebody can pass, right? So if you're using your laptop, say you are seated here, and then it is connected to a power source at a different direction, and you know that people would usually pass through this way, you must find a way to do it in a different way. Because when children are all around the house, most times they are not walking per se. Sometimes they are running, you know, I mean, they want to play and all that. And they may not quickly see it, or they might have calculated, but their calculation will not be as exact as an adult because they do not know so much. So there's a potential for them to trip because of that cable, and that would lead to a fall. And you know how it is when a child falls down, there are so many parts of their bodies that could get harmed in the process, you see. So it's important that we keep trailing cables away from walkways as much as possible. It's actually doable. I'm sure this is why when you attend certain events, you would see that the cables are usually lined close to walls, because they're making sure that it's not a walkway. So same thing, look around your home also, and be mindful of when you need to use your laptop or when you need to plug extension sockets about that. And the next point is burglary proof. Due to security issues, most African homes have burglary proof. It's important to mention at this point that you need to ensure that when you are buying designs for burglary proof, they are the ones that are smaller, sort of together, not the ones that have big holes where a child can attempt to put their head through it. Because again, children try to experiment, right? They would put it in and then try to see if they can bring it out, because maybe they just want to use it to play. But then what happens when they get stuck and you are not there to bring them out? I saw a video recently on Instagram where a child put his head in the burglary proof and he got stuck, and he was screaming, and then the mom went and brought him out. Apparently an auntie or a family friend was filming the scene. Immediately she brought him out, she walked away. Do you know this child put his head back in again, and he got and started shouting again. Now imagine if this did not even come up at all. It's so small that they can't even put their head in. Do you see how that would prevent the incidence of having bruises around their neck? Because you didn't even give them that chance. So again, when we're buying things for our homes, we shouldn't just look out for beauty, we should look out for functionality, because something might be beautiful, but it might not be good for you. So when you want to buy burglary proof, when you're choosing designs, ensure that they are small holes, they're not such that the child can put their head in and then get stuck in the process. So you might begin to wonder, what next? It seems like there's just so much things that are dangerous in the home. Well, the reason this information is being shared is to ensure that even if those things are present, you have some idea of how to manage it. And by the way, this is not a totally exhaustive list, but then it begins to give you an idea of the things that could actually go wrong in your environment and the things you can do to put them in check. So what are your next steps right now? The first point is, I would love you to critically assess your home. What do you need to stop doing? What needs to be readjusted, and what needs to be changed outrightly? So walk around your home, observe, just check. You just might find something that you probably didn't take seriously, but which is an issue. The next thing is, you must create safety boundaries that suit your context. Now, I have to say that we have different kinds of homes, different kinds of buildings, different kinds of environments, and we live in different countries, right? There are some things that are suited, that are available to all of us, but then there are some things that are peculiar to certain situations. So you must always choose your safety intervention to suit your unique context. So you need to create safety boundaries. So for example, maybe where do you keep your lotions, your medicine, and your cosmetics? Where can you now begin to put them because of the things we have just shared here, right? It must suit your own context, because what might work in a home which is just a bungalow would totally not work in a home that is probably a duplex. Do you see? So your safety boundaries must always suit your particular context. It's also very important that you must communicate your safety rules to everyone who comes through your doors. Whether they're going to be there for 1 hour, they're going to be there for a day, a week, or a month. It's important for people to know, because you might know what to do in different safety situations or different safety scenarios. But if the people that are staying in the same house with you do not know, they might actually make a mistake or take an action that would cause issues. So this is why you must communicate it to all of them. When you are having sleepovers or other children, maybe cousins are coming for vacation, and you have certain rules to ensure children protection, just share it with them. And I must state here that it's important that when you're sharing things with children, just to tell them, do this because I asked you to do it. It's important that you explain why. When children understand, they're also human beings. They can understand. When they understand the reason you're asking them to do certain things, they are more likely to comply, compared to if they do not understand and you're just trying to enforce it and say, you must do this, you must do this. It doesn't really work that way with kids. That exploratory nature in them would come up, you see. So it's important that you explain why you're asking them to do certain things. And last but not the least, you must review the control measures in your home periodically, most especially when you're introducing new changes or you're adding new features to your home. You must ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong and how can I manage it? So say, for example, you've lived with your kids all this while and you now want to get a pet. You need to ask yourself, what could go wrong with this pet being in the home? Are there diseases that can be transferred from the pet to the child? What can we put in place to ensure that a disease is not transferred even if we have this pet in the home? It is also possible that maybe you're moving from this fantastic flat that you're living in, and then you're suddenly moving to your own duplex with a swimming pool on the premises. You need to ask yourself, what could go wrong with this swimming pool? What are the rules we can put in place, or what are the barriers we can have to ensure that no accident happens because of these changes that the family is about to go into? So this brings us to the end of this video. I hope this has been a good use of your time, and I hope that you took some important notes. I would encourage you to go through and see the areas of interest to you and begin to make the necessary changes. We can only create safer communities when each and every one of us knows what to do and begins to do it correctly. See you.